have to ask you guys, like, how many other feeds do you see that on? How many other feeds does it start going too well, so they shut the comments off, so then it seems like I'm, not engaging, and which is insulting to those who actually want to be here, like that are positively trying to be here or whatever, and they're trying to communicate. Because I guess from your perspective, you can still comment. I think no, because we've gone from different phone and you still can't comment. No. So what's that about? Who does that? Who the fuck? How many other feeds do you watch where this happens? How many other feeds do you watch that get what I get? I'd love to know.
Oh my God.
Especially the feeds where people talk about the things I talk about. I know there's a lot of truthers out there, but not a lot talking about this stuff. Jesus Christ.
She uses that hoop thing. It's brilliant.
There's some extra weight on there. Doesn't look like it works too well.
No, she.
No, I mean the thing keeps fucking up.
Oh, she's really big.
30 minutes equals a 2-mile run. No, it doesn't. I mean, it's good. That's great that she's doing it.
She lost over 100 pounds.
But if she were to do just about anything that religiously, if she were to do sit up and stand downs, sit up.
But that thing.
Cardio. It gets your cardio going.
Without running or weight on the joints.
Right?
And,
no, it's good. I definitely think it's good. It's just evidence that if you do anything, and when you're that big,
wow, that was shocking.
She can lose a you. That's like you were hanging on to her. I just can't imagine if I had to walk around with you on me all day. Times 5. That's fucking insane. And we actually know a guy that's really, really big like that. And it's just like, how do you? He's a good dude for sure.
Are you talking about
her dad?
Who's dad?
Nate's friend.
Oh, is he really that big?
Are you serious? That dude's huge.
I thought you were talking about from Omelet and Waffle, Raymond.
Oh yeah. See, that guy is like 5'2", 5'6", maybe.
Yeah, he's about 5. Well, I think he's 5'8".
Maybe.
Because he hugs me every time I go in. So.
But he's gigantic too. But he works at a fucking restaurant. He can literally eat all day long.
He's also on his feet all day, moving like that dude. Sits still. He doesn't sit. There's no stool back there for him to. Oh, I gotta rest. He's always moving. So the fact he's that big, I just don't get it.
Well,
her dad sits in his home office all the time.
I just think about it like, I remember so.
Or my friend Shannon. Sorry.
I know. I was in Cali, and I had a girl that I was sleeping with at the time. And the first time I slept with her, like the first time frame, it happened more than once, but I was working construction at the time. And I just was what I was. And then we lost contact and got back together. Well, started sleeping together again. And I had stopped working construction and was working as a hot tub salesman. And I had been in sales for the last couple years where I was, slanging meat and and drinking all night and remember her saying it like, wow, definitely a difference from when you were doing construction or something like that. And I was like, what? And she was like, nothing. And I was like, no, what? She was like, nothing, you just look a little different. And I was like, oh. And I immediately, like the next morning, I was doing push-ups and sit-ups, and I got myself, especially since I'm in my 20s, It doesn't take
Oh,
very
you bounce
long.
back fast.
Right. And it was, you know, I put in, like, I was all gung-ho, like I always was, for like 3 weeks until you could see it. And then once you could see it, I was like, oh,
I'm back.
I'm back. It's all good.
You think you're gonna stay that way?
Well, I did, for the most part. But it happened again, too, when Nick was young. And we went to the beach with my dad. Remember that one time we went to the beach? And I think he might even said something to me about it, about not being in shape. And I started doing it again. And that was, I'm in my 30s, but still, I bounced back. It's weird to look at, like, there's that one picture from when we were in the studio and Jason took it. And I'm flexing in it. And you can see, like, I look at it now, like, Jesus Christ, whose arms are those? Like, that was weird. Like, to go back would be great. But, like, you know, it's that's how I always thought about it. When
built back up when you were doing garage doors.
Oh yeah, yeah. But like, you know, that was always my attitude. Like, I'm not gonna go, I don't look good. I feel bad for myself. I'm gonna be honest and look and be like, holy shit, you're right. And like, it kills me now that I can't do anything. I'm in my 40s. I should be like
upper 40s.
Mid.
Almost 50. No.
I'm in my mid.
46. You're gonna be 47 this year.
Right.
You're in
that's
the upper
I'm in my mid. The 40 through 43 is your early. 44, 45, 46 is your mid. 47, 48, 49 is your late.
Okay, well,
I'm not in my late 40s yet. I will be next year, and I will own it.
This year.
Okay, 6 days, for 6 days in this year. You are correct. And by that point, you will be 51. So, we can go with that. But if, you know, I'm at that age where I should be like grizzled man strength. You know, if it was possible and I could do it, I'd be working out with the kids every day. And I'd be looking jacked as fuck by now. But it is what it is. I'm definitely not going to sit there and eat myself into oblivion because of it. Doesn't mean I'm going to start just eating Twinkies and shit. I wouldn't eat any kind of shit if she didn't buy it.
I guarantee that Ray's mom comfort ate.
For sure.
And he saw that, you know, or anybody in that position. I think a lot of it has to do with that. Not all of it. You know,
I think there's so much
issues, there's
comfort eating is an excuse. It's an excuse because the reality is
because scientifically it does release endorphins in the brain.
But it's not drugs.
It gives you, but it feels that way. It gives you that
No,
little
it
bit of a high.
No, it doesn't.
It does. Look it up.
It doesn't. I take it from somebody that really enjoys food and enjoyed food, and also might have done a drug or two. They are not the same thing.
Your mom was the opposite.
No, but
our kids probably will not comfort eat. They don't see either one of us doing that.
Okay, but I get it, and I think the parents, I always say when you see fat kids, like that's child abuse. Somebody needs to step in and mitigate that. That's terrible. Because you're literally harming that child. You're setting that child up for a lifetime of diabetes and, you know, high blood pressure and just horrible things. And these kids today are just... I remember when I was a kid, every once in a while there'd be that one fat kid who wouldn't take his shirt off when we went swimming. But for the most part, you know, there were doughier kids, but everybody was relatively fit.
Yeah, it was a big thing when I was young. 70s, 80s, like aerobics.
That started in the 80s.
You know, all that shit, like it was a big thing to stay.
But it just, you didn't have, but you didn't have to. Like, we didn't, it wasn't like that. And the food we ate was real.
And despite what people think, the models were not anorexic.
Not yet. Not till the 90s.
they
heroin
still
chic
looked
became in.
healthy. So it's not like we were striving to be skeletons. We were just, it was the health craze.
But there's so much more to it now. I mean, the fact is, people eat fast food and shit because their lives are so chaotic.
And they just keep adding more shit to it. More poison, more poison. Now
But,
they're
like,
poisoning our grocery store foods.
There's no possible way you yourself could eat a double cheeseburger with a bun, ketchup, mustard, 2 slices of cheese, pickles, onions, and a thing of fries. You could not afford to do that for the same cost. Well, especially when you look at like the dollar menu and shit. There's no way you can compete with that. So when you're asked out, you know, you can't you're doing the best job you can do. Like, we all make fun of my sister-in-law because she has a master's. But at the same time, we all know she has a master's, like, on paper. Like, she's not the person that's capable of being that other person.
I finally found out what her master's is in, and it's very specialized. Like, the guy, it's a total failure on the guidance counselor's part.
No, it's not. It's not the failure on the guidance counselor.
Totally
The guidance counselor's job is to encourage you to do what you want to do. So when the counselor was like, and she was like, I want to do this, then the counselor was like, all right, let's make it so you can do that. That was her job. Her job is not to fucking, especially not somebody so easily broken, But it's the job, the responsibility falls on the parents, 100%, for allowing her to go down the road she went down. But at the same time, it's not like she suddenly became this person. She's always been this person. And
master's in higher education and student affairs with a minor in social work and Spanish. Bachelor's in social work and Spanish.
I mean, that should be able to get a job anywhere, really. But it's probably not going to be a high-paying job. But it's going to be. But it's not what she wants.
She didn't want a high-paying job.
Well, she didn't want that. She wanted to work with animals.
She wanted to do social work with kids and animals.
Yeah, she didn't want to work with kids.
No, she did.
No, she thought she did.
Battered and abused homes.
She thinks she does because that's the honorable thing to say. But how often does she pick our kids up to go do stuff? Never. Right. And she never has. Because she doesn't really like kids. That's what you're supposed to say. No, I want to work with kids for broken families. No, you don't.
And use animals
You have no experience whatsoever. Like, you are as dysfunctional as it gets. You come from a dysfunctional situation. You have no business trying to mentor other people's kids, and you don't want to. You have nieces and nephews that you've never made a single effort to see because you don't care. Because kids suck. God, kids suck. I hate when the other kids come to the house. I hate it. I hate the other kids. I hate me having kids. I love them to everything, which is one of the reasons why I hate it so much. But I'm totally an advocate.
On your heart and your soul.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
And your mind and your everything. It's a lot.
It's a lot. And I think a lot of the resentment comes from people not being honest about it.
For sure.
Their experiences with others so that maybe they'll have a clearer picture and be more responsible about whether they should have kids or not.
Right, but
because
it's
at that
not
point
like
it's misery loves company. Oh yeah, no, having kids is great. You should have kids.
If it came down to choosing to have kids, there'd be like 20% of the babies being born. Most of the babies come from accidents. It's crazy how this one free thing that we have, this experience, this connection, this whatever that we do, makes life like what a fuck. But then again, see this this is where I, the big bad mean guy, put way more responsibility on women than they're willing to take, which is just crazy to me. Like, you know, I don't think I can tell you what to do with your vagina. I think you can shave it how you want. You can fucking stick what you want in there. You can, you know, that's up to you. That's your thing. But then to tell me that you're not responsible for what it does, that's nuts. Like if guys could only get you pregnant at a certain time of month, we knew that that's the time of month we shouldn't be having sex because we could get you pregnant, that would be on us. But the fact is, you know, we have the ingredient that always works.
After our second kid, we realized no November.
I mean, after our second kid, I got that shit fixed right away. Because it was, you know, I'm not going to have an accident. I can't imagine if we fucking got pregnant any other time after that. That would have been unbelievable. We had a third one. I can't even imagine. A younger one?
With these two as the older brothers, oh my
They're
Lord.
great. You shush.
Oh, they're great. They are. But oh my God, that would be so cool.
I mean, it just, you know, if there was some sort of form you had to fill out and you had to get like, you had to be approved to have kids, none of us would have kids. None of us would be approved.
Oh, there might be a couple. There might be a
Yeah, but it is what it is. But people need to be like, again, I put so much more responsibility on women than they're willing to take. Women, you have to start owning your vagina. It's yours. Own that shit. You taste a little metal in the mouth? Maybe don't go out to the bar and have sex with a stranger unprotected. Or even go out to the bar and have sex whatsoever. Like, we act like getting laid.
And get so hammered that you put yourself in a position to be taken advantage of.
Oh my God. Yeah, that happens not nearly as much as... See, it's so weird. You always find the excuse as to why the women shouldn't be responsible for their shit. No, she should be responsible for not letting herself get it taken advantage of. Come on.
That's not what I said. Going to the bar and getting so hammered,
you're saying.
You can't control yourself. Or don't know what's happening, or you black out.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
And get taken advantage of. But it is. It's all stupid. It's all stupid. And we need to stop acting like getting laid is the end all be all, like it's like finding $1 million or some shit. Oh my God, my life has changed now and so much better because I got laid. Like, come on, it's cool and all, but let's be realistic. It's definitely not worth being attached to someone forever over it. It's definitely not worth getting some nasty shit from it. You know, it's what are we doing? It's definitely not worth committing crime over. That's for damn sure. Can you imagine, like, I'm serving X amount of time in prison over a nut? Do you know how fucking crazy that is? But I just, I don't understand. I just don't understand. Especially considering how women say how terrible men are in bed. So not only are you going out there on a night where you shouldn't be, you're probably not even getting off. You're just having some quickie, no good sex. Then you get pregnant from it. Like, what? How is that worth it?
Totally. Not.
Throw out a blowjob, or don't. You know, if you want the guy to. If you are with a guy, and you say to that guy, "Hey, I don't think this is the best time for that. I'm not. You know, I could. You know, I might be at my time." And he gets all mad or whatever. Good. That's not the best guy for you. But at the same time, why would you think it's okay to be like, here, let me get you all hot and bothered? Okay, Go on home now. Like, what kind of stupid shit is that?
Well,
What kind of
you
dumb
have to
games are we playing
understand,
there?
as girls growing up, especially during the time our generation grew up, you were told that the guy's not going to like you unless you put out. Well, if you
Okay.
want him to like you, there's going to be that other girl that'll let him get some, and then he's just going to like her instead. So you just have to do it.
Cool. I mean, that's again the
Okay,
only.
so when you
But the
brought up with that mentality,
but you're
that's why
brought up.
women
You're
do
brought
that.
up to accept that mentality. If at any point my daughter would have whatever, I would have said great. If the guy gets mad and doesn't like you because you don't put out, that's not a good dude. Don't worry about it. You're a girl. You're going to get hit on 27 times tomorrow, and you'll be able to make a different pick if that's what you want to do.
And if you think they listen to their parents, I wasn't gonna listen to my parents. Of course, my parents said shit like that.
Okay, but again, if
Your
that's
parents, they
that's
don't know
if
anything.
you're but that's if everybody's parents in our society had that mentality and pushed that mentality, it would be different. But if you can't get through to your kids, because at the same, it's not like you talk to your mom about this shit. Well, mom, if I should I put out or should I not? And your mom was like, "Oh, sweetheart, you should put out." That's not what happened. I don't know where you're saying you got this pep talk from, but
No, it's from all of your peers. It's
well,
from
how many times are your peers right? And if
As
you
a
don't
teenager,
have
you
if
don't
you
know
don't
that.
have
They're more right than the parents are.
but if you don't have that
Teenage
relationship
brain.
with your kids, you probably haven't been working on it for a long time. You might have been somebody that spanked. You spanked, and now you expect to be able to communicate now that they're older. But again, how is it getting put to you? If you're being told that you got to put out because the other girl won't, and you don't already have that mentality that like, okay, like,
Well, it's not only that, but then you see it happening time and time again.
but why at the same time, why wouldn't you put out? What would be the like? It's one thing to say.
Reason.
It's one thing to say, I'm gonna go out with you and we're gonna have a nice date. It's another thing to say, I'm going to go out with you, we're going to have a nice date, we're going to fool around, we're going to get all real close, and then I'm going to be like, okay, I got to go, we can't do this. Well, what was the point of all that? You can have a great date and have a good time and be like, hey, okay, I had a great time, I might want to see you tomorrow or the next day. And, if there's a connection, there's a connection, he'll fucking be there. Guys aren't like you make us out to be, all of us, all the time. Oh man, this hot girl is gonna make me wait another day or two. I'm not gonna go out with her. She's really cool. We had a great time, and nobody's gonna say that. However, if you're playing those kind of games, why put yourself in that position? Why do it to yourself? Aren't you horny too? Like, don't you want that experience too? Now, this is where you have to be smart. Like, do you have a condom? Is it close to that time of the month for you? Whatever. Then you have to be smart. And if you have a dude that you say, hey, I don't want a baby, so let's not do this right now. And he's like, oh, come on, it's okay. You go, no, dude, we're good. I'm out. You're crazy. Like you're worth more than that. Why aren't you being taught that you're worth more than that? You shouldn't be hiding what you want. Who cares what anybody else thinks? Like, it's just stupid. People are going to talk shit mostly out of jealousy. You're always going to find, like, the girl that's talking the most shit about, women being abused or women being taken advantage of or hot girls shouldn't be putting out, whatever, is an ugly girl. It's always an ugly girl. It's always like that. You're like, well, Jesus, nobody's ever even trying to get with you literally, like regularly, let alone trying to assault you. So what the fuck are you talking about? But it's more of that bullshit where you know, women shouldn't do this, women shouldn't do that, women shouldn't be this.
Well, the other thing too, like you say, if you say no and they try to talk you out of saying no, that they're a piece of shit. Do you know, like, that happens all the time?
Cool.
When a dude is fucking hard and horny and you say, nah, I don't think it's a good idea.
Okay,
Not a straight out no.
why did you get to that?
I don't think that's a great idea.
Why did you get to that point?
Shit happens.
Okay, well, that's what I'm saying.
And then you come to your senses and you're like, you know what, this isn't a good idea for whatever reason.
You're saying
every single time the guy's going to be like,
you're saying,
oh, come on.
You're
every
saying,
time. So now you're not going to have any guy.
You're saying that you were just completely unprepared and you were taken off guard, and the next thing you know, his hand is up your shirt and your pants are off, and come on, you know what you're doing before you go out.
At any stage of the game, if you say no, the guy's going to try to talk you out of it. Every time.
If you say to the guy, if you let the guy, it's a whole big thing if you don't do the whole makeout session, rubbing on, touching on, all that shit. Don't do that. It's a lot easier to walk away from, for sure. But now, this is where, the girl might not be selfish. Now, if you were to say, hey, I don't want a baby, this isn't a good time for us to do that, but here, let me blow your fucking socks off real quick. If you really like the guy and you want him to stick around, that's probably the best way. But that would mean you would have to do something without getting something in return. It's that selfish mentality that girls don't have, or that girls have. Right? Like, why would it, if it was the other way around, I'm sure the guy would do it.
No.
If he wouldn't, then again, if he's not willing to, like, why would you have, if you're saying that you're dating these kinds of guys who do all this, and because if you want one of those kinds of guys, well, you're going to have to do, then that's on you. I know there's a lot of guys out there that'd be cool with waiting, being cool with being talked to. They might not be the head football guy who has a whole bunch of options given to him.
Nerdy, weaselly looking guys that you don't really...
Yeah, all the ugly, nerdy, weaselly looking guys are like that, and all the good looking guys need to have sex with you that first date. Do you know how bad you're making yourself look right now?
Sweetheart.
You keep saying it's...
You keep looking at things from your perspective.
My perspective, and then all the guys I've ever known.
No.
Yes, all the guys I've ever known.
They're not willing to be honest with you because
they're not willing to be honest with me.
They know that you're a better man than them.
They're not willing to be honest with you. Yes, that's what it must be.
Yes.
It couldn't possibly be that maybe you have a broken mentality and you made broken decisions. Nope. It's now that the guys aren't honest with me. Only the ugly guys are willing to do that. You
are an anomaly.
I am not an anomaly. There are plenty of guys. I've known them, and they weren't just lying to me. Maybe, just maybe, you hung out with and were attracted to a certain type of guy. And now especially growing up in the environment you grew up in, you think that all guys are bad from that environment. And then you have this reassurance, but this reassurance with what you put yourself in. But I can tell you from experience and all kinds, no, not just the ugly guys would be willing to wait a day or two. That's so stupid. You're making it again. So I guess every date that you went out on, you fucked the guy because you wanted to make sure that you had another chance with him. That's awful. I'm sorry that that's how you were raised to be and that's how you thought. I know lots of guys that talk about second, third dates and all these other things, but I don't know what to say. I'm sorry. That sucks. I wish you didn't think that way. It's probably has some lasting effects that might affect you to this day, and maybe you're just not noticing it, but it's pretty fucked up. I know most guys are pretty used to not getting laid. That's generally how life is for us. So to suddenly, okay, so wait, I could either start getting laid, or you're telling me I gotta wait a couple days and then I'll get laid? And in between now and then, you might blow my story. You might blow me? Oh yeah, no, I'm not taking that deal. I need to have sex right now. That's some fucking weirdo shit, man. And I, you know, I definitely didn't date a lot of girls that had that mentality. That or I just wasn't cool enough or asshole enough. Maybe it was because they knew I was okay with not getting laid. Like, I don't know. I just, again, it's eye opening. People are eye opening. Israel is eye opening. When they say, you know, you demonize Israel by looking into Israel. Well, if they were doing good things, it wouldn't matter. If you think the world works this way, it probably does for you. And there's a reason why you lived your life that way. You don't have to live your life that way. Hey, God damn it, stop it. Yeah, but are you supposed to? Just sit down, chill out. It's weird, man. I've been celibate for 5 years. My mom of spawn kind of wretched lot of me, so man, I get married before. That's crazy. Good luck with that. Don't wait. Like it again. It's like when people say, you know, I got out of a bad relationship. I'm never gonna date again. If you're not willing to get hurt,
No.
if you're not willing to get yourself in a situation, then you're not, you know, you're gonna miss out. The only way you can be hurt is by caring to begin with. And it's good to care, it's good to feel, and you have to be realistic with yourself. If somebody doesn't want to be with you and they let you know, like, good. At least they didn't fucking marry you, pop out a bunch of kids, and then be like, yeah, I don't like you anymore. It's much better knowing before that happens. And how could anybody be in a relationship where you're so blind and delusional that you think, you know, that the other person is miserable and wants to break up with you and you don't know it? You know, that's how could you be that oblivious? It's like when dudes are like, "Oh, I'm in love with this girl," or "I'm in love with a stripper," or whatever. Well, how can you be in love with somebody that's not in love with you back? That's not what love is. You have some sort of lust going on, but you don't know that person. You can't love that person. You can't love that person that you don't know how their breath smells in the morning. You know? That you don't know what it's like when they get challenged and nobody's there to see it and how they respond. And, you know, you can't love somebody until you experience more of them than just the shallow fucking outside perspective or the show that they put on for you. But at the same time, like waiting till you're married and all, that's stupid. You know, you want to be good at it. You know, you want to be good at what you do, and you want somebody else that's good at what they do. So then you together can, because you're going to be eating that same cracker every day. You don't get any other crackers at that point. So you better both be really, you know, the other person's jelly. Right. And to go into it like we're going to, like, how could you possibly know? You're going to wait till you're married, till you're legally bound to someone before you see if you have good sex with them? You should definitely make good sex a priority for getting married. Because, and the best advice I can give you, though, the very best advice I can give you, is to make sure you guys like the same TV shows. Because the majority of the time you spend together as you get older will be sitting around watching TV.
You done then?
No.
Yes, sir, Star.
And if you're not compatible on that end, that's going to end up causing a whole bunch of shit for you.
If you jump at the ring, Star, you're gonna die.
Oh man, it's crazy to hear how like other people's perspective is. You know, to hear like such a I hate to, you know, go back to it, but such an insecurity. You know, somebody that good looking and smart and fun and funny and all these things, thinking that the only way they could get you is by having sex with you. They can't tell you, like, it's weird. You know? You would think that as the female, you would have more self-respect and confidence than that. I mean, you're female. You get hit on 100 times a day. Yeah, not all of them are going to be Brad Pitt. But, like, to think that, well, ugly guys hit on me. Well, at least they hit on you. There's a lot of people that go throughout life without getting any sort of attention like that. And you can tell yourself, it's, oh, these guys that say something that... I think you're overestimating male confidence. Males aren't nearly as confident as, you know, some people maybe that you knew back in 30, 40 years ago. It's weird. And it's strange too, again, because I like I say, I went out plenty of times with girls who didn't feel obligated to fuck me. And we had a good time too. I'm not even saying like we had a bad time. There was plenty of times where, you know, we'd fool around and we'd get to that and it'd be like, hey, let's do this. And they'd be like, no, I can't. And I never understood that shit. Like, that was always weird to me. But, you know, I don't know what you're going to do. I can't imagine enforcing myself. No, we're going to do this. And I'm like, that's just fucking weird. That is just fucking weird. But, like, you know, I appreciate, like, the bad part is, you know, like, this is the problem with being open and honest sometimes, is you say things that you don't realize what you say. And it's important that we're, like, you shouldn't fear saying anything. You shouldn't fear any judgment. Like, it's always strange to me to hear that. Like, oh, well, strangers might think, you know, this, that, and the other of me. So? Who gives a fuck? You don't know them. You know,
How you're perceived is how you're treated. People judge. As much as they should not, they do.
I don't know what you're talking about. Like,
it was walking into Tiffany's when I was not prepared to walk into Tiffany's, so I'm wearing my pajama sweatpants and, you know, I'm everyday person out. I had so many salespeople walk right the fuck by, look at me and not ask me if I needed help.
And you don't think that has anything to do with your attitude? Because there are plenty.
I'm excited and happy and oh my god, nostalgic. Look what they've done.
Right,
with the
and then
place.
and I bet that came in and.
No, it didn't.
Okay, I know that there are plenty of women. I don't like to go into Tiffany's. I don't even know, what are you talking about?
When I went to go look for the earrings for Sophia.
Okay, yeah, but you go into it like, what do you think? Of course they're not gonna.
How you're perceived is how you're treated.
It's your mentality. There are plenty of women out there who they don't have the same chips, and they're not. It's not about that. It's not like if people perceive you as being someone who will put out, then they're like, how can I help you, sir or madam? Like, that's not what. You know, if you don't look like you have money, like you have money, and there are other people that do. I mean, that's sales 101. Why would you ever take that personally? That's the thing I don't understand. Even if those people are.
Strangers think, and I said it's because it determines how you're
treated. What do you mean how you're treated? So somebody might have overlooked you to go try to make a better paycheck for themselves talking to somebody that was probably there to spend a lot more than you were, because you weren't there to spend a lot of money. So of course they're gonna leapfrog you. That'd be foolish not to. So, I mean, again, if you were to
dressed better,
that
wouldn't have happened.
So what? Why would that?
That's why people worry about what others think.
That wouldn't happen to me. If I went in there, I'd be helped right away. And if I wasn't, I would walk up to somebody and be like, "Hey, I need some help."
I did.
Okay, well, if they were already busy with someone else and they're gonna make a better paycheck off of it, you don't know what's going on. But as far as like to leave that store and feel anything, like they didn't treat me well, blah, blah, blah. Why would I ever give a shit? I wouldn't remember that shit. You know, I've been, you know, I've had bad sales experiences. I've had good sales experiences. I've had them all. Do I remember any of them? No. Do I care? No. Why would I give a shit what some people that I know are working? And at the end of the day, it's not like you were walking in there with $10,000 you were prepared to spend. You were going to get a $50 pay.
That situation before too.
And they ignored you.
Yes. I walked to get my Mustang. Absolutely.
Okay, well, at that point, you were all moneyed out. So it had to be something else. Because if you experienced the same...
In there...
Okay.
I did, and I kind of did it on purpose so I wouldn't get taken advantage of.
Then you made it work for you. What's the issue with it? Like that's stupid. Then that you should do exactly that. And I don't understand why.
I'm saying I've done it both with money in my pocket, ready to spend shit tons, and also.
I get to pick what spirits we get too.
Nathan, I get to pick what spirits we pick too.
Dad, but this is my.
Nathan,
hour.
it's not.
But Dad, this is my hour. Too.
Okay, if it's his hour, then he gets to
But
pick
he
it.
doesn't get all of them.
Why not? When it's your hour, then you.
Spirit board, so why do we have to?
If it's his hour, then do here. You know what, dude? Here. Yes.
Oh, thank God.
You're so dumb. I'm not finishing the round.
Oh God, did he just stop?
Did you just stop it, Nick?
Yes. Because
Wait. So, you just did the thing that you have made such a big deal out of.
Because after I get the phone, I'm
Stop talking, please. Where you could have easily just finished that out.
Yeah.
And then it would have been fine, right?
Yes, Dad.
That's unbelievably shitty, dude.
Sorry, Dad.
Doesn't seem like it. You're just doing your that. How could you do that, man?
I'm sorry.
You have made such a big deal out of him doing that before, right?
Yes.
And now you know next time he's going to do it to you. And now I'm going to have to argue that side. Like, no, it's not okay that you... Huh?
Nothing.
Dude, I really feel like you shouldn't get the phone now. Why would I reward you for that?
Please, I'm sorry. I don't know.
You were doing it to be a jerk. You were
No,
doing it to be a jerk.
I wasn't going to finish the round, and Nate would have had to protect my body so I don't die.
Okay, you could have finished the round, right? Because
Yes,
up until 30 seconds ago, you didn't know you were getting the phone. So you were going to finish the round, right?
Yes, Dad.
So you were really just kind of doing it to be a jerk.
No, I wasn't trying to be a dick. I wasn't even thinking about that. I just didn't want to finish the round. And
That's unbelievable, dude.
Sorry,
After everything you've done and said, all the big deals you've made. This isn't like a once thing. You have created a whole bunch of problems over this in the past, haven't you?
Yes, Dad.
Just unreal, dude.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, whatever. Crazy. It's all just crazy. It's all about perspective. That's a great example of it. It's the same shit. And I go out of my way to make them see it because I'd rather them go through it now and be more adept at it than be in their, 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever, still struggling with these kinds of goofy shits, games and all that other shit. You know, it's strange. It's really strange. Life is a constant evolution. Like I don't know what I believe in as far as evolution. Well, I do know I don't believe in evolution. I think it's dumb. Like the concept of chimps making men, that's just stupid to me. But the evolution of our minds along the journey we go through. You know, when I think about how I was raised and how I was told to deal with things and taught to deal with things, and you know the experiences I had and how much different it is for my children, and you know how I deal with them, and it's just my whole perspective on all of it is let's do the best we can do, and if there's something missing or we're getting something wrong, then let's make that adjustment. There's no need to hang on to any of that chosen bullshit that's we were taught because our parents were taught because their parents were taught because their parents were taught. You know, we really need to understand like if my kids grow up and they take portions of what I'm saying or what I'm saying or whatever, and they end up being happy people. Whatever it is, if they end up as happy people, if they're a garbage man but they're happy, or if they're a politician and they're whatever it is and they're happy, that's all that matters. You know, I don't expect them to be me. I don't expect them to follow in all of my footsteps. I hope there's a couple of things they take with them. I hope they're smart enough not to poison their children. I know they already see Israel and how awful Israel is. You know, so they're learning good things. I believe in a form of evolution. I don't think it is as extreme as some make it out to be, but you can see a mental and physical evolution from one generation to the next. Very slight difference. Yeah, but how much of that is technology and advancement and accessibility? You know, first of all, we don't know what those previous generations were. We know what they tell us, but we also know they keep a lot of that narrative away from us, right? So, you know, it's as far as what the previous generations were, and as far as evolutions go, you know, I say it all the time. We are exponentially smarter than the previous generations were, and it's hard to say it because my grandfather was like brilliant, and my mom was really smart, and Ange's dad was really smart, but they were smart with the information they had available to them. They had no idea. They never had the access to the information that we have. They didn't have their little pocket world everything encyclopedia just at the palm of their hands. Oh, look, the guy above you is an acknowledged, admitted pedo. You acknowledge yourself as a bowman, you are acknowledging yourself as a pedo. This dude fucking deals with children and yeah. These are the kinds of people that really need to be gone. So, none of that. We can't. I told you, you can be here as long as you don't use pedo code stuff. And the guy acknowledging himself as a bowman is absolutely pedo code. I don't even know what he said. I don't even know what he said. I just saw his name. And yeah, no time for that. No room for that. I know what they're doing. They use the pedo code so that others reach out to them, and now they can trade in whatever they feel like trading. And it's fucking disgusting. It's Pizzagate, but they can't use pizza terms again because we all know them. If they came out talking about, you know, I want a cheese pizza or something like that, out of nothing, out of nowhere, nobody's talking about pizza or anything. They start talking about that shit, it would be really obvious. So they remade the code to include all sorts of new things, and we showed them. We proved it, and it went away. It was everywhere. If you were involved in the whole truther thing, like 2016, 17, the couch thing was everywhere, and that was pedo code. That's what they do. Good morning, Kristen. It's BS how there's been people spending 25 years because it's selling weed, yet there are pedos getting a slap on their wrist. Well, it's not BS. It's Semitism. And it's not just that that all pedos are Jays, but it's that so many of the Jays are pedos that the system has to allow these holes so they can be exploited when they get in trouble. Be safe. It's a bigger, it's you have to think about why it's happening. It's not just that these guys are getting slaps on the wrist. It's that the laws were created to protect those guys so they could get a slap on the wrist. That's how it all works. It's they've made it this way to protect themselves. And so what if a few of them, if a few Gentiles get through? Then they have their ditties, their patsies. Hey, Gentile, let me come to your house. Let's have the party at your house. You throw the best parties, Diddy. Hate that so much. It's so corrupt. It is. Well, but use that malice you have for good. Say what needs to be said. Share the feed where the guy has been saying this for a long time. You have to see that. Like, if you hate it, then help. Then let's do something about it. I don't know if you have children. I don't assume you do. But if you have children, man, and then the subsequent generations, you want the world to be better. Better than when you left. Or when you got here. I definitely will. You speak fast, bro. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. This is how we do it. This is what grassroots is. It's 2025. So grassroots is going to be different than grassroots was in the 60s. We're not going to be sitting here printing up pamphlets and, holding sit-ins and all that shit. It's 2025. We can talk to everyone around the world. If enough of us share the feed in enough places, then everyone in the world has a chance to see it. And when everyone in the world starts realizing, hey, it's us versus them. They have it us versus us right now. They've tricked you into thinking that because your skin color is different, because your gender is different, because your preference is different, that we should be fighting each other. We should be, violating and discriminating against each other. Well, our sky daddy is this and our sky daddy's that, and it's all just bullshit. It's all bullshit to try to keep us in this submissive position. Talking rubbish. Yep, it's rubbish. I first saw this feed 2 weeks ago, and you still have nothing better to say. Isn't that amazing? Another dumb J. It's what they do, man. If I was wrong about something, they would point it out. Oh, everything you're saying is wrong. Oh, okay. We need to start serving others, not ourselves. Wrong. Wrong. There's nothing serving yourself. At the end of the day, I believe in true selfishness, right? And true selfishness is I want myself, my wife, my children, my family, so on, to live the best, happiest, safest, healthiest life they can live. All of them. And the only way that can ever happen is if everyone else is living the best, happiest, healthiest, safest lives they can live. That's the only way everybody's happy, healthy, and safe, is if we're all happy, healthy, and safe. And that's the key. It's true selfishness. You know, because the reality is nobody does anything for for selfless purposes. You even if you run into a building and save people from a collapse, you're doing that because it makes you feel good to help somebody. There's always a selfish reason, and it's okay. We've been taught that it's not okay to be selfish in some way. Take care of others in need. Yeah, well, I mean, that's part of it. Like, if you don't take care of others in need, those people are more likely or are likely to assault somebody you know, or somebody who is, connected to somebody you know, or whatever, which then affects this, which then affects that, which then, it's just, we need to be taking care of everybody so that they don't fuck with us, so that our lives aren't negative because of it, and because it makes us feel good to know that we're helping people. Take care of oneself so you can take care of others, for sure. For sure. And in your next breath, Y-O-U-R, wishing for genocide. So damn stupid. Huh? Who's wishing for genocide? I think the whole thing is that genocide's wrong. Isn't that like the main backbone is that you disgusting Jays are committing genocide daily? Isn't that what we're talking about? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. You have been forever. I mean, again, it's the strangest, most telling thing, right? If you look at my feed and you look at all of these unconventional, controversial things that I'm saying, the fact that nobody actually tries to debunk what I'm saying and instead wants to talk shit about their fantasy of me. They don't even know me, but they wish they did, I guess. It tells you the truth. The fact that nobody tells me I'm wrong or how I'm wrong and what I'm wrong about, shows you that I'm not wrong. Yeah, that's what it is. Too much ayahuasca. If it was meth, if it was crack, if it was ayahuasca, if it was whatever that made people question the J narrative, then absolutely they need to do that. You should be able to do it without that, though. That's why one of those, that's why the whole God situation is just silly. Why does it require us taking crazy drugs to be able to experience it? What kind of God is that? God is a joke. He's a joke. It's a joke. And it's a big pedo fan, apparently. But there is no God, so it's a bigger joke. Just think about it, man. Just think about everything that you're shown. How much of it makes sense? How much requires faith? where are all the people that are telling me what I'm wrong? It's so uplifting. It's so motivating to continuously do this. That these people know that I'm going to say what I'm going to say. And yet they do such a bad job at even coming close to combating, addressing anything that I have to say. Guys, there's nothing wrong with thinking that like a horrible cult is just that. Didn't the Jays tell you that the people of Waco were bad and deserved everything that they got and blah blah blah? Haven't we heard about how like anytime, things don't go the way that the people want, there's some sort of revolution and people fight war or whatever? I'm not encouraging violence on any side. As a matter of fact, I really hope the Jays, stay being Jays. I'd love it if they came over and just said, I'm not like any one of them that says I don't want to be a part of this supremacist bullshit. It's ugly. It's mean. It's supremacist. It's sexist. It's I don't say I want to say racist, but again, it's they're not a race, so it's supremacist. It's homophobic. It's all these horrible things. If you say that and you walk away from that, like you to me are a hero. But at the same time, I totally think like they should be allowed to believe what they want to believe. If they want to believe the shit they believe, let them. Let them. Just let them believe it in their little region, and whatever happens, happens. Give them their Israel. If you want to subscribe to that horrible supremacist nonsense, well, we are going to insist that you get the fuck out of here and go to Israel. Walking the wells and make sure none of the wells get poisoned. We're going to be watching the borders just like you guys have. And we're going to do what we can to make sure that you're happy in your little region all by yourself and you stay there and whatever happens to you happens to you. No more American Big Brother to protect you. And then the rest of us, we work together to make our lives better. God and pedo should never be used in the same sense. We can't sit and wait for it, not him, to help and save the children. We need to wake up and save them. God is waiting and counting on us. Do you know how ridiculous you sound? I'm sorry, but come on. Do you know why you believe in God? You believe in God so that you make the Jays God's chosen people. And so most people, I mean, at least you're not saying that waiting for God, but it's a delusion that they gave you. Why don't you see that? The whole idea of God is a Judeo-Christian term. Christianity, Catholicism, it comes out of Second Temple Judaism. It's what it is. It's J stuff. And the historical narrative behind it, especially the King James Bible, is just utter trash in every aspect. It's a way of tricking you. It's a way of controlling you. You honestly want to believe in a God that has this viewpoint of children getting raped in the church. In the church right now, there's probably a child getting raped. And God has this viewpoint. He can smell it. He can hear it. Taste it, I guess. And instead of dinkle, dinkle, dink, doing something about it, your God is waiting for us to do something to help that child we don't know exists. And until then, well, it's just going to keep getting, the child's going to keep getting raped. That's what the God that you want to believe in is? Yeah, who built that? Can you tell me that you were saying there's no God because if there's no God, you don't believe in yourself? What? Can you tell me that you were saying there is no God because if there's no God, you don't believe in yourself? You need some sort of outside deity to believe in yourself? Are you feeling okay? I've noticed how society can mock Christians, Muslims, Catholics, but when we talk about the Jays, it's all offensive and hates. Right, exactly. That is why do you think? Who do you think makes it that way? Who do you think controls the narrative so that we just accept that that's how it is? You don't see, like, when was the last time you saw a Jay Israeli bad guy as the main bad guy in any sort of movie or TV show or anything like that? It never fucking happens. And anytime it does involve them, whatever they do is like understandable. Or there was this one episode of SVU where, somebody destroyed this Jay's Bible, so he killed them, and it was like this whole trial on whether it was okay or not because they destroyed, and eventually he got found guilty. But the idea that there was even a trial for it, and that's just bullshit. It's just bullshit. No, we are not God. If I was God, no children, that the first thing I would be doing is dinkle, dinkle, dinking. Anybody that wants to violate a child suddenly has a heart attack. And if they do it again, it's an end-all, be-all heart attack. But it's before they even get there. The child doesn't have to experience the heart attack while something's happening to it, which would make it even worse. Bro, y'all are so crazy. Yeah, whatever. They is who. I have my own belief in a higher power. Never read the whole Bible. Read the Cliffs Notes. Well, but you say God. So God is a Judeo-Christian term. So you're already doing it. Right? And where do you get your information from? Do you understand that by saying you believe in a higher power that connects everyone and you're just saying you believe in God. It's just that you're too smart, right? You're too smart to continue to believe in something that tells you, like, one thing I love about Christian women is they never want to acknowledge one of my favorite biblical verses, which is 1 Timothy 2:11. And 1 Timothy 2:11 says, where is it? My wife sends me way too much shit. 1 Timothy 2:11 says, "Let a woman learn in silence with full submission. I permit no woman to teach or to have authority over a man. She is to keep silent." That is New Testament shit. That's not Old Testament shit. You don't want to be a Christian. But why do you need to believe in God? I don't understand that. How would your life be any different if there wasn't a God secretly letting children get violated all the time? You just called you crazy, Andy, and then called them for allowing, called for them to follow an invisible deity. I was broke and now I'm a multimillionaire after putting my faith. So when people say shit like that, right? So what you're saying is there are children out there that are literally being raped by clergymen, probably right this minute. And those children aren't praying in the way that you were, or putting their life into Christ as much as you are. So that's why God isn't helping them get out of this rape situation, but God helped you make a bunch of money. That's not what God does, you goofus. You've been watching too many televangelists, sowing too many seeds. $1,000 seeds. Interesting how your God likes money. Exactly. Sounds like you like money, buddy. And why would anybody believe him? Does anyone believe that this multi-millionaire is watching my feed? If you're a multi-millionaire, it wouldn't be shit for you to throw $100,000 my way. You could use it as a tax write-off. So go to my website, www.the-bilderberg, group.com. The link will be in the description, or it's in a previous video's description. And go put $100,000 in my account. You multi-millionaire, right? I'm the guy that's trying to fight against pedos and shit. You should at the very least respect and support somebody fighting against pedos. Plus, you could get $100,000 fucking tax write-off. Why wouldn't you do that? Because you don't have any fucking money. Let's just be real. Not money. I never asked for any. It's called faith and reward. Again, you know how stupid you sound? You know how stupid you sound? I'd believe you if you could prove it, but you can't prove it any other way than throwing $100,000 in my account. You can't prove it. We just have to have faith in the idea that you're telling the truth and that God favors you over helping children. I believe in a non-traditional God, then you believe in Christian God. I never did until I got arrested. The officers beat me within an inch of my life. I woke up twice the next morning. Physically and spiritually, something brought me back. No, it didn't. You were beaten within an inch of your life. Your brain goes into shut-off mode. And whatever you've been programmed by the society around you is what you experience in your delusional state. But, again, what you're saying is, while God is giving AIDS to babies in Africa, because that's a life, he's giving life, putting this life form, this parasitic life form into the fucking babies in Africa. He's like, oh wait, hang on a second, let me help this guy come back to life because the cops beat him. Because of what? Do you know how arrogant that is? I mean, essentially, it was God's plan for them to beat you within an inch of your life, right? That's what you would believe. Everything is God's plan. So why would God need to beat you within an inch of your life? What a horrible thing for God to do. Yes, of course, Andy. God made you a multimillionaire and let thousands of babies starve this morning. I like this guy. Pick one. Do you want Islam to modernize so we can have as many sex crimes or terrorism, or do you want to enforce 1 Timothy? I have to pick one? Why do I have to pick one? Do you know how stupid you sound? First of all, in this country, the majority of the sex crimes and terrorist acts, like mass shootings and stuff, are done by Christians, done by dumb white Christians. Let's get real here. You've never experienced terrorism from a Muslim terrorist or something like that. That's just some bullshit that they've programmed you to think. Fucking ridiculous, man. I've always been an atheist woman. My mom hated LOL. I can't believe there's a loving God with all these evil I've witnessed. Right. Or we've witnessed. Right. No, you said I've witnessed that. It's fucking stupid. It's not even, I say it all the time. There's nothing in my life that's more important. Like, if you pray for me in any way, if you pray for me in any way, stop it. Because if you believe that the God of the universe actually hears your prayers and changes its mind, because that's what you're saying, right? God wanted you to get beat within an inch of your life, and then you prayed, and it was like, all right, I'll let you live. You believe the God of the universe can do that. Well, then get the God of the universe to stop children being raped in the fucking in God's house, in the church. We'll worry about the pedophilia all over the world once we fix it in the church. But why isn't God stopping pedophilia in the church? First and foremost. It's called free will, right? What about the children's free will? Who protects the children's free will? So you're saying that the free will of these guys, I always, again, love it. Is it God's plan or is it free will? Because if everything is a part of God's plan, then it's a part of his plan, its plan, that the children get violated, right? It's called free will. And God doesn't ask you to be a crazy nut on YouTube. Oh, here we go. Good typical Christian. Now we're going to go to name calling. I'm a nut on YouTube because I don't believe in a sky daddy. Yes, because babies have so much free will, don't they, Andy? God doesn't ask me anything, men do. Yeah, if you're having, like, if God is talking to you in your head, first of all, your head would explode. That's Metatron, remember? But if you think God is talking to you, you need to go to the doctor. You need to go get seen, because again, the God of the universe making the sun go around or making the earth go around. Sorry for all of you other ones. Breathing life into babies, giving AIDS to other babies. That God is like, hey, oh, did you wanted something down there? Let me check your tithing. Ooh, you haven't tithed enough. No prayers for you, buddy. Are you guys tithing every week? Are you giving 10% of your earnings to the church? Because there is no God, Andy. There is. You guys just want to blame someone else's unfortunate situation. I was raped before. You don't see me crying. That's horrible. That's a horrible thing to say, even if you're making it up or if it's real. It's still a horrible fucking thing to say. And it's amazing how, let's just say it's true, how you've been programmed to give away your own credit. If you were raped at some point and you're still able to live a really good life and not let that interfere with you, that is really, really a testament to what an amazing person you are. However, if you're lying, well, you're a piece of shit. But you're taught to believe that, oh, it's not you being amazing, it's that God did all the good work there. Was God there when you were getting raped? Why did God let you get raped? Or did God have his back turned and Satan stepped in and was like, all right, get this shit going? Do you know how ridiculous you sound? You believe in a God that would let you get raped? That is a horrible, horrible... I would never want to believe in a God that allows anyone to get raped. Well, other than rapists. I guess God was punishing you, Andy. Why won't you talk about blah, blah, blah? Why would Daniel just admit he's wrong? You haven't made any points. Like, isn't that weird? You're going to say Daniel just admit you are wrong. That doesn't even make you smart enough to use the right your. But you want him to just admit he's wrong based on the nothing that you've said? You haven't made a single point. I never said I prayed, but it did happen. No, it didn't. There was no magical spiritual force that made you come back alive. You did. Again, why would the thing let you get beat within an inch of your life by police? Has that somehow made you a better person? What about all the dreams and the PTSD and all that shit that comes from it? What about when you're driving and a cop gets behind you and you just fucking flip out and have a panic attack? Boy, wasn't that good of God to let that happen to you? Do you know how ridiculous that sounds? I don't give a fuck about Christianity. Yeah, you do. Go to the bank on Sunday. Buy some alcohol before noon. Get an abortion if you need one, or your girl needs one because the baby's going to die and kill your girl at the same time. Get an abortion because some chick that you don't like accidentally got pregnant. Nope. You have to have that baby. I mean, man was allowed to invent cars, and we all use cars because that makes our lives easier and blah, blah, blah. But the fact that man invented a way to do safe, easy abortions, well, we shouldn't do that. That crosses God's lines. Right? God didn't want to. If God would have wanted us to walk, he would have given us wheels. But when we figured it out, it's okay. God didn't mind that. It's like the Mormon or the Amish that'll have like a telephone in the middle of the town. And then some Amish are allowed to have telephones at their house. And, so stupid. Anybody that thinks abortion is a problem, if you're going to talk shit about abortion in any way, you better have at least one adopted child at your house. Depending on how old you are, you better have had at least a few. You know, if you're elderly or whatever, you better have had at least a few come through that you got as a baby, and you gave them the, you know, all that shit. There's other options. Yep, feed CPS. Because isn't it like 86% of the children that go missing and have something go terribly wrong are associated with CPS in one way or another? It's not my fault. You're incredibly uneducated on the subject. Right. It's ridiculous. I kind of want to believe God is real. Of course you do. Wouldn't it be great to know that if you just followed all the rules the Jays give you, that when you die, oh boy, then life gets really good, buddy. I mean, again, as long as you haven't had sex before you were married, as long as you didn't do this, didn't do that, didn't do this, didn't do that, didn't do this, didn't do that, and you think that repenting somehow overrides that. Like they gave you a list of rules that you're allowed to break if you repent. The whole thing about repenting is that you will live forever and ever in the afterlife. It doesn't say that you're going to be like best buddies with JC or anything. That could easily mean you go to hell forever. Even though you repent, you're just alive forever in the afterlife. And all powerful. But why does he let the most evil acts happen to the most innocent and do nothing if he cares so much and it's so powerful? Right, it's just fucking stupid. Did he just admit the earth is round? No. No, I didn't. Oh, wow, we are way behind. No, I was talking about all the stupid people that think that it goes around, you know. I was talking to you. Let's see. Is there really nothing that's going to be said here? The boats and space shuttle ain't real. I don't agree. I do not agree with any of that shit. It's not real. Those guys hurting children are not true Christians, nor are the clergy. They use... Okay, so do you realize then what you're saying? You're saying your God is allowing its representation to be exploited by these fucking individuals and these groups. And again, it does nothing. And the system that gives you Christianity isn't the true Christianity. You know a better version because you're not arrogant or programmed. I mean, it's not even arrogance. It's that you're too smart to be associated with these groups. But you're also brainwashed into wanting to believe it. You want to believe that when you die, it makes all this okay because you're going to go to heaven. You know? It's a reward system that you want to believe in. But it really is just kind of stupid, selfish nonsense. Surely you don't believe the earth is flat. Why would I believe the earth is round? Why do you believe the earth is round? I don't believe it's flat. I don't even know what it's flat means. Like, when people talk about the world being flat, they still picture space and like a frisbee flying around through space that there's an edge of. That I definitely don't believe in that shit. But why would I ever believe in anything associated with NASA and the J? It's all J propaganda bullshit. What does NASA in Hebrew mean again? I can't remember. To deceive. Yeah, that's what it means. NASA in Hebrew is to deceive. Why would Earth be flat, but every other planet be a sphere? How do you know they're a sphere? I love when people make these arguments. It's crazy to me how many people make the same goofy argument. You see lights in the sky, dude. You don't even know which ones are the planets most of the time. You like look up and you go, oh, hey, isn't that one Jupiter or something? It's brighter. I think I read somewhere Jupiter's in the sky or something. And that's about it. If you look at a planet through a telescope, you don't see a sphere. You see a light that looks like you're looking through a pool. You know, like when you're looking at a wavy thing, that's what it looks like. You don't see planets and shit. You know how stupid that is? Yeah, I see big giant space rocks. You realize, like, there's something called perspective, right? The human eye can only see about 3 miles. And when you're talking about telescopes aren't letting you see thousands, hundreds of thousands of miles into space. That's why if you take your telescope and you're like, wow, look at all these stars, and then you turn it sideways and you look at your neighbor's house, you don't see like the individual paint strokes and the previous color underneath the paint, and you know, you see like the telescope makes your viewpoint go from here to here. So back here, you can't count the hairs on my face. But here, you can absolutely count the hairs on my face. That doesn't mean you're seeing further. You're just seeing a smaller picture magnified with all the other background bullshit taken out. That's why the moon looks so small when it's up in the sky, or the sun looks so small when it's up in the sky. But then when it's down close to the earth, and you can compare it to the size of buildings and shit, then you go, oh wow, it's a lot bigger. The moon looks huge. It's the same fucking moon, same fucking sky. It's just perspective. So for you to think that the magic thing lets you see, you know, however many hundreds of thousands of miles away these things are, millions of miles away these things are, you're just being silly. You just don't realize how silly you've been deceived. If you want to talk about submarines, go watch the first 9 parts. Plenty to talk about there. It's funny how I keep saying it to people, and then you'd think like people would be commenting on those videos because they go watch and they could learn about the lack of submarines. But they never seem to. They just want me to keep talking about it. Why the hell would I pray to someone I didn't believe in at a time? I laid there unconscious and walked out of there to see the judge the next day. Good thing is, about my story, I don't need. But you think God had something to do with it. That's the point. You didn't say you prayed. But you think God had something to do with it. Which is crazy. Why would God decide that you should live? Why would God let you get beat within an inch of your life? What's the problem, Markham? You're no different than a Viking on the battlefield that took a knock on the head, then wakes up and praises Odin for saving him. Wow, that's a great fucking point. Oh, I love this guy. Daniel, you get the gold star for the day, man. But like, look at all these dumb comments. I'm cool, I don't care, Christianity, yeah. No point in arguing. He gone yapping, yep. Don't read my full comment. I was talking about abortion. Blah, blah. I was. You just weren't here with that. I never met a left-wing conspiracy theorist. You're an interesting person to be certain. Who is a left-wing conspiracy theorist? How do I I'm not anything. I'm a Gaianist. I support Gaialism. Conspiracy theory, final boss. Yep. Why can't you respect others' beliefs? Because others' beliefs are crazy. Do you respect the suicide bomber that believes he's doing God's work and he's gonna get his 72 verse, whatever's not in the Quran anywhere? Do you respect that person? Do you respect the beliefs of someone who believes that their God tells them that they should rape children? Now you're just cherry picking again. And you want me to respect your beliefs even though you don't have any good reasons to. You just want me to be ignorant about the situation and like forget everything I know in order to respect your beliefs. But your beliefs, that belief in God is what continues to keep them in charge. You know, it's a false narrative given to you to keep you submissive. So quit pushing your beliefs until you know. Yeah, no, I do know. I know what you're presenting to me. If you want me to believe something different about you, then that's on you. You have to, have a very small window into who you are, and that's what you type. And how matters are, they just believe all the most ridiculous positions. Isn't it funny how instead of making a point about why it's not smart to believe in that, and I've asked repeatedly, why do you believe the earth is round? Instead of making any reasonable points, just like with everything else, it's just shit talk. I'm addressing what people say. Let's compare lives. I'm living wealthy, and you're, while you are living on welfare, unhappy, debunking submarines, and you're watching me. YOU_RE watching me. You're this rich guy who's so miserable that he comes onto YouTube to try to pick fights with truthers instead of living his millionaire life. Gotcha. We should absolutely believe you. I mean, how dare you demand respect for your ridiculous insanity? Exactly. That's fucking exactly. Dude literally doesn't know how to change the YouTube title, and yep, that's what it is. I actually thought you might have something worth listening to, given a perspective on things, but you're too close-minded. Yep. So you're saying I'm too close-minded to have the discussion because I'm addressing what you're saying, and you don't like it, I guess. Like, it's not like you're coming back at me with better points. That whole paragraph you just typed could have been, well, actually, I believe it because of this. This is why I believe in this thing. Why is it always so hard to get people to express why they believe in shit? If you ask me why I don't believe in your God, I'll have a whole list of things to tell you. If you ask me why I believe the Jays are the bad guys, I'll have a whole list of shit to tell you. I don't expect anybody to just believe it because I say so, or not talk about it because I'm too fragile to hear that I might be wrong. I'm going to put it out there, and hopefully, if I am wrong, you can tell me, and then I can stop being wrong. I don't want to keep saying things if they're wrong. But it's interesting how it's always that childish, oh, well, you don't believe what I'm saying, so, nah, you're closed-minded. I'm closed-minded because I don't believe in the Sky Daddy? Are you serious? I'm closed-minded because I look at all different perspectives and different facts, and I can make arguments and stuff, instead of just saying, hey, I just have faith. Why can't you respect that people just have faith? That's pretty close-minded. I need you to have a conversation with me. I am having a conversation with you. Let's do that. Look at all these shit talkers. No, you see a sphere if you actually have a... No, you don't. You don't see a sphere anything. You see a round dot. And if it's not real to begin with, if it's manufactured, you don't think they can put whatever round dots they want up there? Very intelligent, actually. He's just been lied to so much, it's destroyed his ability to trust and sift through the bullshit.
Let me ask you this.
If the world is round, to make the better point.
Have you ever seen, and it's all been all over social media for years, artists that do like chalk drawings on a sidewalk that fucking fools people because they think it's,
A manhole, open manhole cover.
Whatever it is.
Right.
They look realistic as fuck. That is a regular old Joe Schmo that's extremely talented with chalk. If somebody can do that, you don't think that they can make something go in the sky? People that are better educated, better skilled, whatever, to make it look realistic as fuck to us?
Well, if we are indeed in something that was built by a much more advanced version of us, like it's just foolish. It's foolish to think that we have, that we have an understanding of what they could do, right? Do you think you know what humans are going to be doing in 50 years, 100 years, 500 years, 1,000 years? Do you really think in 1,000 years this generation of people won't be able to build some sort of structure that the things inside don't know they're in? You don't think we're going to have invisible technology? You don't think we're going to have shrinking technology? You don't. What do you think? We're at the pinnacle of our society. We're never going to get better than this? Technology is consistently happening. You can go to Walmart right now and go buy a TV for a few $100s that looks better than looking out your window. Curved and all that shit. I don't have that much time. I have estimates to do. Make it quick, make it good. Look at all this shit. It's not a microscope. No, it's not. But that's how it works. Like, you don't even know how telescopes work. And most of the telescopes are digital. And then there's like the space telescopes. Like you believe in the James Webb Space Telescope. I don't even know, like, you want to talk about some goofy shit, right? The Coriolis effect is proof of this. No, it's not. It's not real. This is another thing that you're just told. You're just told. And the fact is, you couldn't do that. The longest sniper shots are like, they take like 10, 15 seconds to get to it. You wouldn't be able to do that. If things were spinning and moving, you wouldn't be able to. It's just silly. You're believing more narrative that doesn't make sense. It's 2025. If the earth was round, there wouldn't be any question. Yeah. There wouldn't be places all over the earth that you can see much further than you should be able to see. You wouldn't be able to pull ships back into your camera view when you have something that has an extended zoom on it. You know, it's just not. What you believe is foolish. It really is foolish. The moon, in fact, pulls the water and controls the tides. Well, only in the ocean, not in the rivers and lakes, though. This is an observable effect, again, but only in the ocean. And that has to be the moon doing it. So the moon affects the certain water, but not the other water. Gotcha. Like, this is just, it's a foolish argument. You know, when you start thinking about the crux of the whole argument is your belief in this magical gravity shit. And gravity has to be the most intelligent force in existence. Because gravity knows how to hold a bazillion, chajillion, fafillion tons of water on a spinning ball that spins at 1,000 miles per hour. It knows how to hold all that water on it perfectly. Knows exactly how much pressure to hold that water on that spinning ball. But then also knows when the cottonseed is floating along. Do. Okay, don't less pressure on that cottonseed now. You know, gravity is not going to pull my hair down and make a force is pulling my, no, because static electricity now just overrides gravity. Everything that you believe with gravity is actually buoyancy and density. But when we start talking about gravity, we start talking about this shit that makes us and everything stick to the earth, but then makes the moon revolve around the earth, and makes the earth revolve around the sun. That's the same gravity. Makes us stick to the earth that's spinning around. And you know the best part is about Earth? We have this invisible atmosphere, I guess. And inside the invisible atmosphere, the air and everything is spinning at the exact same speed as the ground below it. So much so that birds and shit can fly in the opposite direction and we just don't feel it. It's spinning at 1,000 miles per hour and the air around it is all spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. It's such utter nonsense. It really is like the fact that you believe it makes no sense. You only believe it because you've been indoctrinated with space movies and you know, you had to say this shit. If you didn't say these things, then you didn't pass school. And you were allowed to be ridiculed if you didn't say these things. It's absolute nonsense. It really is. The same effect observed when you drive very fast, yet an insect can fly around in your head. What? No, that's not the same effect. You're riding in a car. You're riding in something that's moving. And if there's any sort of deviation to the movement, you feel that shit. If you're sitting in the car and somebody hits the brakes or somebody speeds up, or you feel it. And if you go outside the car, you don't just float. Like, the thing is, every single trip to the moon would then be impossible. Because the Earth is going around the sun at 67,000 miles per hour, supposedly. So as soon as the rocket passes through the atmosphere, well, then the Earth should be like, ew. And when people started making this association, a few years ago, they made a change. They were like, oh, wait, the Earth's atmosphere actually extends and actually encompasses the moon, too. It's the extended atmosphere. That's why the rockets don't go flying off. It's stupid. I've observed the curvature of the Earth, even when I didn't. Geeks understood this with shadows and stones thousands of years before you were born. No, that doesn't make any sense. If everything is moving, then none of that shit would be in the same position all the time. You know, and really, all of the cultures from thousands of years ago and blah, they all believed it was flat. Every culture believed it was some dome structure. What are you even talking about? The idea of the round earth is again, somehow the church just decided that the Bible was wrong. And it's all just bullshit. I mean, it's literally bullshit. It's not something that should be hard to prove. Like, at this point, with how many people believe that there's something else going on, you would think society, some rich person, something, would do this all-out expedition to show everybody, nope, it's actually round, look. But they don't. You feel acceleration and deceleration. Yeah, you feel turns, you feel every little movement. I believe the Earth is a sphere, yet there is not a lot. Yet there is a lot to support. There's not a lot to support the round Earth. The only thing you have is like some crazy theories like the Coriolis effect that snipers, yeah, because you know a bunch of snipers and shit. I mean, it's all stupid. It's the fact is, like, all the pictures are fake. The Earth pictures are fake. They've been shown to be fake. They've shown how the Earth, every time NASA shows us a different picture of Earth, supposedly from the same position somehow, Earth looks completely different. Continents are bigger and smaller. There's like copy and paste cloud images in different pictures. Like, it's all just silly. If you're already moving at a speed, you will not feel your own movement. Right, but you will feel the thing's movement. A feeling of being outside a train, plane, or automobile. What? No. Again, what are you talking about? If you stick your hand outside, you're going to feel it. If you ever try to walk in a plane, it's difficult. It's never like you're just like... There's always some sort of... You always feel something. Same thing with a train. I don't know what you're talking about. I swear to you on all that I love, everything I'm telling you is correct. You think it is. Because you've just decided to believe one side of this. For no reason. You don't have any reason to believe it. You haven't seen the curvature. You said you did, but you just skipped over that shit. But for you to swear 100% that you're not wrong about something that you've been told to believe only, that's pretty conditioned. You know? To think that the same system that lies to you about everything else, well, they're telling you the truth about this. This part they're telling the truth on. Yeah, I need a train, like long range shots. I am trained to be able to make correlate. No, it's not. It's not. It is not. When you stick your hand outside, you are feeling air resistance, not movement. If you throw something out, it's going to feel that movement. That's not air resistant. You're feeling the movement. If we remove the air, you will not be able to feel the movement. When building bridges, they don't take into account any curvature of the earth. There is a whole bunch of shit. The idea that we don't make fucking one-way flights from South Hemisphere places, from like South America to South Africa, or South Africa to Australia, or whatever. You know, there's just all sorts of shit. It's I can't believe I say this nowadays. I never thought I would say this in my life, but the reality is the biblical story makes more sense than the whole Big Bang story by a mile. And the biblical story makes no sense whatsoever. It's just stupid. Like it's so dumb to believe around Earth. It's such a goofy, dumbass thing that, like, why would you ever believe it other than you were told a bunch of shit? You know, you were told that, oh well, you're long range shots. You're adjusting for the spin of the Earth, the spin of the Earth that somehow affects bullets, but doesn't affect if a helicopter flies up and just hovers up there. The Earth doesn't spin below the helicopter. Helicopter could stay up there all day and the Earth would be in the same place when it came down. But it affects bullets. Come on. When you throw something out a window, a moving vehicle will continue to move at the same speed you cast it out. The only thing that slows it down is the resistance, which is caused by the air. Not true. Not fucking true. Like, that's that Isaac Newton bullshit. If you shoot a cannonball from... No, it's not the gravity that brings it down or anything like that. It's the lack of energy, the loss of energy. If you throw it out there, it's only going to have so much energy, along with the resistance that it's hitting the ground shit. But there's only so much energy behind how fast it's going. Eventually, that energy runs out. There's a lot more to it than it's just some magic force pulling it down. The helicopter is overcoming weight to thrust ratio. The helicopter is over... Come on, dude. You believe that shooting a bullet from one long distance to the other, you have to account for the spin of the Earth. But a helicopter can rise up and hover there for however long and then come straight back down in the same spot it was in. Think about how goofy that is. Newton's cannonball is the same math we use to send satellites. Yeah, I know. It's really, really dumb. Because we don't have any anti-gravity stuff. The ISS is steadily falling into the Earth at 17,000 to 18,000 miles per hour. It's falling into the spin of the Earth. Again, the Newton's cannonball thing. It has nothing to do with the gravity pulling it down. The cannonball weighs 8 to 12 pounds. The thrust necessary, the thrust that's used behind said cannonball, if you put one thrust behind the cannonball, it's only going to go so far compared to putting 10 thrust behind the cannonball. The 10 pounds of the cannonball is what's pulling it down. It has nothing to do with some magical force that's magically pulling it into the center of the Earth, but then also allows for little birdies to fly. You're just, you're spitting out nonsense that doesn't make any sense. It's foolish. It is indeed. We use Russian thrusters to keep pushing the space station upwards. Otherwise, every once in a while, they have to use thrusters to push it back up. You honestly believe that this thing is falling into the spin of the Earth at 18,000 miles. How did it get that fast to begin with? What magic rockets do we have that go that fast? And then, of course, they're doing spacewalks, or even when they dock with it. So what they say is, because you're like, man, how could humans falling at 17,500 miles per hour, along with a ship that's going to come dock with it somehow? I mean, any small little mistake, and that could be disastrous. But the computers do it. Don't worry, the computers now do it. And if they overshoot it by a little bit, they just back up and shit. And then they go out on their little spacewalks while they're falling at 17,500 miles per hour. But because the molecules are so thin, they can't tell. Do you know how stupid that is? That you would be willing to believe that is just insane. It shows you how crazy you are. Thinking you can see the International Space Station when it's supposedly 350 miles up. You can't see that shit. Look at an airplane. Airplanes fly at 35,000 feet. You can see them, but they're really small. You can see this space station that's 3 football fields. Go look up how they got the space station up there. Go see if you can, think about it. So at some point, they flew pieces up into the 17,500 mile per hour orbit, where they then let them go out, and then other pieces were flown up, and they just assembled those pieces, and now it's the size of 3 football fields. And this is all 17,500 miles per hour falling into the earth every once in a while using the thrusters to push it back up. That is insane. We don't need much force to overcome gravity and speed. We are... No, we're not. What are you talking about? The earth spins at 1,000 miles per hour at the equator, according to you. 17,000. You're just saying that somehow we're able to achieve 17,500 miles per hour? You're just cool with that. No, imagine you're handing me a stick from 2 moving vehicles. Because we're both moving at the same velocity, we would appear to be still to one another. No, we wouldn't. Obviously, you've never handed something from one vehicle to another. It's super, super hard to do. And we're not going 17,500 miles per hour. No. You're talking out your ass here, dude. And that's a terrible analogy. Your vision is not limited by distance. It's limited by interference in the atmosphere. No, it's not. That's why when you're looking down a hallway, it comes together. It's called perspective. It's how our eyes work. The hallway doesn't get smaller. If I go out and look down my street doesn't get smaller. It just appears that way because we have something called perspective. Our eyes can only see so far. You're limited interference in the atmosphere. Right. So then they're using infrared telescopes that shoot out infrared that is then interpreted by the computer, and then data is spit out, and then an artist renders that somehow knows how to read infrared picture computer data to make the pretty pictures we see. If we were on a plane and we increased our speed 1,000 miles per hour, do you think you would still... What? I've been on a plane, and planes don't go nearly that fast, and they're hard to walk in. What the fuck are you talking about? It technically is not using thrusters to push back up. It's just to go faster. Yeah, again. It is... What you're saying is you're trying to, cop-splain it. But it's stupid. It's falling into the Earth's spin at 17,000. How did we get that fast? Yeah, okay, Andy, you've already proven that you don't belong in this conversation. This is the big boy table. You need to go somewhere else. The plane is difficult to walk in. Now you're just being intellectually decided. Oh, yeah, it's not difficult to walk in. You can't tell that you're walking in a plane at all. Gotcha. But we can do spacewalks at 17,000 miles per hour. Yeah. There's never anything called turbulence. There's never anything like that. Planes are just... What am I talking about? Dude, you're being ridiculous. Notice how I'm debunking what you say and you just jump to the next thing. You cannot feel your speed in a plane. I didn't say you could feel. See, what are you even talking about? I never said you could feel the speed in the plane. What are you talking about? I know when people are wrong and they know they're wrong, they start arguing their own narrative. Kind of like Andy did with you earlier. But you only believe this shit because you're told to believe it. This is Christianity 101. You have no idea what you're talking about. You just believe it because you want to. Because you, especially someone who's an atheist who wants to not believe what the church is. So the alternative to the church has always been science. But it's like you don't understand how science works. You don't understand how the grants go and how all the funding works and how, blacklisting works and all that shit. Turbulence is caused by atmospheric interference. Yeah, sure it is. Sure it is. And you feel every little bit of it. You only feel this. No, you don't. You feel every little movement. When the plane dips or turns or anything, you feel all of that stuff, man. Come on. If you cannot feel the speed of the plane, why would you think you feel the speed? What are you talking about? Planes don't travel at 1,000 miles per hour, dude. And we're talking about a giant fucking spinning ball that's traveling at 1,000 miles per hour. And the thing is, it never changes. It's been traveling at exactly the exact same speed for the whole time. There's never been a point where just for a split second it like deviates or anything like that. Nope. It's always going 1,000 miles per hour along with the atmosphere around it. And I mean, it's just so silly. It's just so silly. I'm not against the majority of the conspiracy. I didn't say you were a Christian. Dude, you have a really hard time, like, not doing that thing where you argue your own narrative. Of course you feel that because it's accelerators and decelerators, and when the plane is cruising, you have no idea. You're not moving at thousands of miles per hour. Jesus Christ, are you kidding me? Planes, no, they don't. Planes don't move at 1,000 miles per hour. Cruising speed at the highest levels is roughly 500 miles per hour tops. But usually planes are traveling between 300 and 400 miles per hour. You just completely debunked yourself, dude. Yeah, they have special planes that they supposedly build that can go that fast, but those aren't passenger planes by any means. And you said thousands. So that's at least 2,000, right? Can you tell me the remainder? Oh, Jesus Christ. No, they don't. They don't travel that fast. You're being silly at this point. Now you're just being ridiculous. That's necessary.
Oh, that was her, wasn't it?
No, I'm talking about Nick. Let me see your phone.
Was she there for a while?
I don't know. Passenger plane speed. Passenger planes. The average cruising airspeed for a commercial passenger aircraft that flies long distances is approximately 547 to 575 miles per hour. What can I do? You want me to what? I can't do anything about it.
I can't hear anything.
Okay, I'm sorry. Do you need more proof? It's not thousands of miles per hour. So you've completely made yourself taken away your credibility on this. You're claiming thousands of miles per hour, and it's clearly not that fast. Traveling over long distances, they go that fast. When they're that high up, they go 500 something miles per hour. But that's not even the average passenger jet is 480 to 575 miles per hour. I mean, it's pretty simple, man. You could just look it up. The cruising air is 500 miles per hour. Yeah, around 500 miles per hour. Let's see how well you take being wrong. Yep. See, I expect better, but it's strange how you guys, you have a problem with it. I have flown in a jet and many times the speed of a commercial. Now we're talking about jets. See, now you're going to argue something different. Oh. Are the jets going 17,500 miles per hour? No. Not even close. I assure you are not the smartest man. Yep, that's what it is. I know I'm smart enough to know that if somebody just looked it up and showed me that, oh, this is what it says, the average cruising speed, blah, 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 I'd be a big enough person to go, you know what, I was wrong about that. That's how smart I am. If I was wrong about what I said and it said it, yup, thousands of miles per hour, I would have said so. But I was right. And you don't like that. Yep, now we're talking about jets, blah, blah, blah. We are already moving at 17. The Earth spins at 1,000 miles per hour at its equator. That's what they say. Dude, I'm done. I appreciate your input on the religious thing, but you have completely lost all your credibility here, dude. Especially knowing that you don't have the ability to acknowledge when you're wrong. And that's really sad. But I appreciate the example. Like, I really wished you would have been better about it. Remember when I said, let's see what happens after I said that, after I read it, because I wanted to see what you would do? You did what I thought you would do. Why the hell do you think 500 miles per hour is any different than 1,000? Yeah. Do you realize if the Earth was spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, east to west, west to east, whatever, that traveling the other way would be impossible in your jet that can only go around 500 miles per hour? Do you realize how silly you sound? Like, you this is one of those points where you should be like, holy fuck, I'm wrong. I thought I would, but now you're like, defense mechanisms are kicking in, and you're not the smartest man in this chat, and yep, that's what it is, because you believe stuff. Now we're talking about subsonic superjets that you've been in, and come on now. Come on now. Oh, it's Sega here. A money on around, you know. Yep, that's what it is. Now we're going, because again, you can't just be wrong. It is been 1,000 miles per hour. You are communicating with me on a technical device that requires understanding of this. I'm yelling now. I'm using capital letters. Typical Christian, man. This is the typical Christian. This is how you know that Western society, and even the Muslims are the same way, that we've been made into these weird babies who we might be able to see things one way, but when it goes against the thing that I like space movies. I like Star Trek. I like Star Wars. I want to date an alien girl with 3 boobies one day. Like, when it goes against what we want, we act the same way. We all act like typical Christians. Oh, well, you're dumb. You don't know what I know. And, oh, who cares if what you're presenting me is facts? I still have faith. I have faith that I'm right. Your facts are nothing. I'm reading you the facts they want us to know. These aren't my facts. But this shows you that the sickness, the J sickness, it goes beyond religion. It infects us in so many ways. Like, I can't tell you how much I was hoping this guy would have gone, fucking A, man, I was wrong about that. Holy shit. Hey, maybe my perspective is a little off. I didn't realize that, but you know what? I was wrong about this. I could be wrong about other things. I was so fucking hoping he would say something like that. And of course, they never do. It literally never fucking happens. And I just, it's special, man. It's weird. And capable of receiving new information and understand. Yep, that's what it is. Because what happened is, I came out of my mom's vagina, and I was like, man, these Jays are terrible, and the earth isn't round, and blah, blah. I just made all that up on my own. I didn't come across new information that went against everything I wanted it to. I didn't want that shit to be true. I didn't want the earth to be something that the average Christian would be able to be like, see, we told you the earth wasn't, or we told you the Bible was true. You'd think they jump all over it. No, I won't. How's that? You like me now? Huh? What? What's up? Man, you giving them some more poison? I don't know how good this isn't any good. You can't give them these. This is the best one, and it's not good enough. You already got one out.
No, those were all rotten.
Oh, well, these are hard.
All of them are hard?
Yeah.
One of them was still soft.
I don't know. You're pretty good at making things go soft. No, this one might be good. No, I wouldn't use it. I'd save it. It's not. Don't squeeze it hard. That's why we always have those big freaking bruises in them, because you squeeze them too hard.
That one would be...
I wouldn't use it. Here, if you want to use it, go ahead, but I wouldn't use it. Do you know that commercial airplanes fly at thousands of miles per hour?
Thousands.
And even if I read you...
Thousands of miles per hour.
Well, when I look it up and it says... When I say, no, it's around 500, and you're like, no, you're stupid. And then I look it up and it says, cruising speed is about 500 miles per hour, maybe a little bit more. Then I'm still wrong somehow. Love it. I love how this happens. Yeah, now here we go. There's something wrong with me because you're wrong about something. Isn't that amazing? And I tried to rope you in with one. I tried to rope you in with one topic, right? I wanted to talk about this to begin with. That's funny. Instead of admitting that you were wrong about something simple as the cruising speed of airplanes, now it's all this nonsense. I appreciate it. Again, I couldn't script this any better. Your beliefs actually align with fundamental Christianity. Now I'm a fundamental Christian. Yes, I sure am a fundamental Christian. I just don't realize it. If you've ever had a conversation, I informed you you're exacting cruising speed before. Yep. Yeah, that's what it is. Thousands of miles per hour is what he said. But again, I'm just done. I'm sorry. This is one of those, like, this is why I always vet people, right? Like, I would never let anybody just come onto my feed and have the platform. And it's always stuff like this where, you know, you see somebody's true colors. Like I said, this dude was wrong. All he had to say was he was wrong. And that could have meant the conversation could have continued and all this other stuff. But when somebody, I prove this every time somebody talks about me in my basement and I look out the window, right? And it's clearly a second story. It's like, if you're willing to say something with no factual basis and you're just going to double down on it and it's nonsense, you don't know what you're talking about, but you're going to say it because you want to make a point, that means you'll do that with everything. If you're willing to do it with one thing, you're willing to do it with everything. And you can easily counteract that by just acknowledging that you're not omniscient and that you get things wrong. But most of us are trained with this Christian mentality that, you have to have faith in what I say. Never mind what you might know, because I am better than you. I know things you don't. You happen to know what I know, and you know better than me. And then when I ask you to explain what you know, and you show that you're wrong, you're not big enough to acknowledge it. That's that J Christian bullshit that they've put on us. That's why people can't have the simple conversation. It's always strange to me how it makes people mad that I don't believe in the same earth shape they do, or that I don't believe in submarines like they do, or like, it's weird. I don't know why it bothers people so much, especially since there's so many other things. But they haven't gotten there yet, right? They still believe, the narrative one way or another. They haven't gotten to the point where they go, you know what, they're lying about everything. I'm not arrogant enough to sit here and pick and choose which things I say they're lying about. I'm going to sit here and say they're lying to me about everything. And then until I can prove true, I'm not going to believe it. And it's interesting to me to be able to go live like I do and try to have these conversations and watch as people, they just regurgitate the same old nonsense. It's not like anybody ever makes any new or reasonable points. It's always the same, the same nonsense I was given. You don't know anything more than I know. I had the same schooling you had, and I was all about space. In the 2000, late 2000s, early 2010s, about a one-way mission to Mars to establish a colony and blah blah blah. I literally thought I would sign up for that, even though I would leave my wife and family home. I would think they would be taken care of, but not having a dad, but growing up with your dad being that sort of superhero Mars colony establisher, blah blah blah. Like, I seriously gave that a thought. I used to make my wife watch all kinds of space documentaries and shit. I was all for it. And I was all for it mainly because it was anti-Christian. It went against Christian nonsense, and I want to be the smartest guy in the room, so I'm gonna watch what I can. I mean, if I would have had the internet like I have it now, I would have been doing a lot more. Nowadays, I read it. I learn what they want me to learn. I learn where Christianity is supposedly originated from, and NASA and their whole round earth belief, and just all of it. It's all in the same vein. It's all the same, the same stupid J nonsense. And it's ridiculous. In so many ways, it's just ridiculous. Once you step away from the round earth idea and the whole solar system, and you start looking at it almost comically. I mean, one of my favorite long debunks is the Big Bang. Like I say, I was all for science argument because I hated the Jesus thing, but the Big Bang is the singularity, right? The singularity is everything in the world, everything you can see, everything I can see, you can see, everybody else in the everything can see. Plus everything we can't see, everything that's way, way out there. And I never get to know whether it's like all the black stuff and the edge of the universe, is that inside the singularity too, or is the singularity inside this big empty warehouse? Never really get that information, like, because if it makes the black stuff too, then what was the singularity in? Is it just a big white piece of paper or some shit? Like, how does that even work? It was a nothing surrounded by a everything. Like, it's so stupid. We should look that one up next time. But the singularity explodes, and then there's the dark part, and then after the dark part, there's the formation of galaxies. So the Big Bang is this smaller than a match head, everything everywhere, spewing out as debris, as little tiny microscopic pieces of dust and whatnot that just keep spewing out of this singularity because it exploded under the pressure of gravity. The singularity is everything's condensed because of gravity so much that it finally explodes, which makes no sense. But then, and if you have something the size of a match head and it explodes, as things are ejected and they go further out, they get further and further away from everything that was next to them. The thing this big doesn't equal the thing this big. But they inside this debris, this spewing debris, now gravity, instead of condensing everything into this small little match head, now it's making little swirly gravity pools. And the swirly gravity pools are pulling the microscopic pieces of debris into the center of the gravity pool thing, where it's forming clumps. And the clump just gets bigger and bigger. The more pieces goes from microscopic little debris to something that we're told is 400 times the size of the Earth. So you can't even imagine how big that is. And then at the same time, our sun is a small star. And there's mint, please. Thank you. Our sun is a small one, and things like Betelgeuse are like 1,000,000 times bigger than our sun. We can't even fathom how big that is. But these gravity clumps, at some point they light themselves on plasma fire out in the middle of gravityless, oxygenless space. These stars are born. Now, again, it's gravityless. There's no up and down, and yet somehow on these stars there is an up and down. There's a north and a south. And along the middle of these stars, more little gravity pockets appear, and they start pulling more and more clumps in. And instead of turning into little suns that light themselves on fire, no. They turn into little rocks. But inside the rock, especially with Earth, like all the rocks are kind of the same, but Earth, the inside of the rock lights itself on molten fire plasma. And it makes warmth along with the sun, that it's now, these rocks are now caught in an orbit around the sun. And because the Earth is in the semivious zone, life can exist. And so what happened was, after it lit itself on fire on the inside, it started raining. And it created the atmosphere. Even though how could you create the atmosphere and after you have how could you have the rain clouds and stuff without there being the atmosphere to hold them in? But whatever. It rained and 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 rained. And now the oceans are full. And there's only Pangea. and suddenly a rock just falls out of the sky. And it has an organism, a single-celled organism that survived the explosion that sent that rock out, cascading through the universe and happened to crash into Earth, because we used to get hit by rocks a lot back then. And this time, something survived. And it was a single-celled organism. But after millions of years, it became a double-celled organism. And this process of evolution continued until that single-celled organism made all of the fish. Fish and octopus and sharks and dolphins and kukalaka kukakakas and all these other things that that we don't even know they were monsters back then. And one day, a parrotfish, I would assume, it had to be a parrotfish, decided they were gonna like it would be just like if humans one day, two humans were like, you know what? We can breathe underwater. So they just went and started living underwater, breathing and shit. Well, these fish just came out of the water. And I guess they could walk and talk and could breathe the air, and there must have been a bunch of vegetation everywhere. Because eventually, these fish evolved into lizards. Big, giant, fucking monster Godzilla lizards. And also, little creatures. And also, lizards that could fly. And all kinds of things. The fish turned into that. And then one day, another rock fell from the sky and wiped everything out. And I don't know if, like, some of the furry creatures and shit survived that somehow, but all the big lizards died. And if they didn't die, they turned into chickens and shit. Birds, they turned into birds of today. The dinosaurs turned into birds of today. The crocodiles were supposedly crocodiles back then, so they didn't turn into crocodiles. Turned into the birds. And this time, more fish came out and turned into... They were like, we can't do those big lizards this time, but we're going to turn into, like, hippopotamuses and giraffes and thank you, and chimpanzees and tigers and lions and bears, oh my, and all the bugs everywhere. You know, these fish were turning into all kinds of things. And then over time, the tigers stayed tigers. In a minute, and the hippopotamuses stayed hippopotamuses. And everything stayed the same except the chimpanzees that turned into people. The tigers didn't turn into tiger people. The hippos didn't turn into hippo people, but the chimps turned into chimpanzee people. And those chimpanzee people lived basically the same way for like most of it, and then suddenly figured it out. And now we know all this because we have telescopes that can look backwards into the future, into the past. And that's what you believe. That's your Big Bang Theory in a nutshell. And can you imagine if tiger people, lion people, shit? The crazy thing is, we still have chimpanzees. Not all the chimpanzees turned into people. Only the certain ones did. Thanks, Chubby. Now, if that makes sense to you, it's funny too, because people will believe that, Big Bang Theory, and they'll believe in Jesus. And like I say, I hate to say it, but even the Bible's bullshit makes more sense than that nonsense. The chimpanzees turned into people and nobody else did. Amazing. It's amazing. And the real truth is, and that's why I hate doing this. I mean, every once in a while, I guess I have to. But the truth is, we can't know the truth about any of this until we, the Goyim, overthrow the Jays that control our narrative and get the answers to all of it. Find out what's being held in the 50 miles worth of vaults underneath the Vatican. 50 miles worth of shelving, I mean, in the vaults underneath the Vatican. And then all the other bullshit. There's all sorts of other shit that they have access to that we don't know. They know the truth. And the truth The truth wouldn't keep us in control like some bullshit God. Hey, watch out. There's an invisible big brother always watching you. You know? It's Big Brother before they had the tech to do Big Brother. Always watching. Don't do anything you're not supposed to do. Just listen to the J's. Do what you're supposed to do. Believe what you're supposed to believe. And when you die, everything gets really, really good. Trust me. Nobody's gone there and come back, but we know what it's all about. White picket fences and all that good shit. We know it's all there for you. It's waiting for you. Just do what you're supposed to do. Interesting, man. It's interesting. What a crazy situation. And I say this about everything. It's like you see this sickness in everything. That Christian, that J sickness that makes everybody the same stupid. They call out all sorts of things that they think are stupid about the system. But then they believe certain aspects of what the system says because they like them. There's literally no reason to believe it. None of you have any reason to believe you live on a ball spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, going around the sun at 67,000 miles per hour. The sun is traveling through the galaxy at around 100,000 miles per hour, and the galaxy is moving through the universe at anywhere between 1,000,000 and 1,000,005 miles per hour. You have no fucking reason to believe that whatsoever. There's literally no proof of it. And actually, you have the opposite. The fact that we can still see the same stars, even though everything's moving, covering these huge distances and shit, and no stars ever go out, no new stars ever appear. You know, we have the exact same stars on the exact same days that it's always been. And somehow, thousands of years ago, they mapped that shit out. Some donkey people sitting around going, okay, the zodiac and we have on this, and we're going to keep track of the stars and this. Do you know how stupid that is? And it's going to go all around the world, and everybody's going to believe the same shit. Fucking wild, man. I'm telling you, it's not just the dumb Christians. It's that dumb Christian mentality that the Jays put on everybody. And it even affects the truthers. It even affects the people that, you know, they might be smart in some aspects. They might be atheists. They might be whatever. People believe what they want to believe. And evidence be damned. Whether they have evidence or, you know, again, the lack of evidence is evidence against. They just refuse to see it because they like this one. I like this one. I know I stayed away from the flat earth argument for a long time because I didn't want the Christians to have that leg up. And I knew something was already wrong. Like, I already knew it. I knew it fell into that category where, like, you know, the one thing you don't want to believe is that, you know, there's no Jesus, no God. If you're one of those people, you're bad and blah, blah, blah. And I knew that's how I was always treated. So I used to think, like, why do the flat earth people believe what they believe? Is there a reason for it, or are they just crazy? Because I know they get treated like I get treated for not believing in God. And yet that shit's fucking obviously stupid. And it was always like I would just stay away from it. And then one night I had had surgery and I had a bunch of painkillers and I was all cocky thinking I can fucking debunk this. Let me go watch this. And I watched Under the Dome with Mark Sargent. And I knew 10 minutes in I was fucked. 10 minutes in I was like, uh-oh. Because it's all just validation. It's not like it's not like you're like totally shocked by what you're seeing. Most of it is you just going, yeah, I always wondered about that. Yeah, that always makes sense. What, you know. But again, I'm the type of person that can admit when I'm wrong. And if somebody said something that had me admitting I was wrong, I would say so. Oh, a bunch of painkillers. Yeah, I had surgery like 10 years ago or 8 years ago. Yeah, you get painkillers when you have surgery, dumbass. You have to love when people do that. They're like, oh, I think I have something. Oh. You said something you did like a long time ago? Yep, yep. But then they don't realize how stupid they sound. If that was the case and it was something I was somehow compromised, shouldn't you have better arguments? Anyway, I'm done. I can't tell you how grateful I am for the examples that are here today, or were here today, whatever. That dude playing, the truther role, showing you guys how desperate and foolish people get in the comments that he, instead of just acknowledging being wrong about something that he orchestrated. It was his, he's the one that started that whole thing. And to then just be so easily proved, the one thing I look up the one thing, I could have been wrong, he could have been wrong, one of the two. And instead of me being wrong, I'm dead on. And it's just interesting to see how it always plays out like that. Same thing. I don't get mad. If you had sensors on my body, you'd never see my heart rate go up or anything like that. It's so typical. I'm so used to it. I'd be more surprised. Like I said, I'd be more surprised if he would have acknowledged it and we could have kept going. I knew exactly what happened was going to happen. And it's how it always works. So have a wonderful day. Go get your free download. www.the-bilderberg.group.com. The link is in the description. It's free. There's also a link to Facebook page, and then there's a link to the best evidence you can find. It's called a movie called Hollywoodism. So go watch some shit. Go educate yourself. And pedophiles, kill yourself.